Hello, everybody. Super excited for Place at the Table today with Michelle Grant Murray. I cannot believe it's been so long since she and I connected, but can't wait to be. Yes, hi, Jeanette. I can't wait to be in conversation today. I can hear sounds happening in my own house. Michelle and I first met at UBW, a Summer Leadership Institute, which those of you who know me know is just an incredible family. The UBW family is, I'm so grateful for in my life, and also runs deep. So we'll definitely be talking about that today. She's also just an incredible mother, artivist, change maker. And this is going to be our last one of 2020. So it's been something that we started during quarantine, but I have a feeling this Place at the Table series is going to extend out past COVID, outlive COVID, because it is something that we're all finding is just both a powerful practice, but also a way to really amplify and connect with beautiful human beings doing incredible things. So hi, I see Michelle. So excited to have you join us. And I will say also, if you want to suggest people to be on Place at the Table, please let us know. Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited that we get to do this.
I know. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, good. Yeah, I put my earphones on because we got like a dishwasher going, and my husband's using the
Okay.
microwave, and there's all kinds of things.
Okay, I understand. I understand. I'm excited.
I know, me too. So I was just sharing just like that you and I originally met in NOLA in New Orleans
Yes.
with the SLI program. It was a reunion, but you said it was your first
Yes.
SLI.
Yes.
But there's so many, oh my God, there's so many intersections and that I've found over the years, and I haven't seen you in a really long time and gotten to actually ever do something like this with you. So
I know.
I'm really
I know.
excited. Before we start off, I never like rattle off a bio or anything like that. I always want people to kind of introduce themselves in the space, how you want to be. Look at those earrings, both of you. Yes, we love you, Jeanette. Jeanette is our rehearsal director.
Hello.
Yay. But I will say it's always, for me, more powerful to hear a person say a little bit about their journey, who they are, where they come from, than to share a bio. So who are you and where do you come from?
Well, I come from honeysuckle, sweet tea, collard greens, and red clay. That's really where I come from. But yeah, I live in Miami, Florida, and I am a dance artist here. I'm married. I have 2 kids.
Yes.
I teach at Miami Dade College. I have a dance company, Olujimi Dance Theater, which is now Olujimi Dance Collective. So doing a lot of work inside of that space. I'm a military brat. So my father, my grandfather, and my husband, all 3 of those men have been in the military. So I've traveled
Wow.
many places in my life. But Miami has been the place that I've lived the longest. I've lived here now for 20 years. So it's really
Wow.
interesting to be here that long and to have mangoes rolling through my blood.
Yes. Falling off trees in your
Falling
yard.
off the trees in the yard, in the backyard, in the front
I
yard,
love it.
and coconut water on a daily basis, all the time, breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
Yes.
so those type of things. So yeah, that's a little bit about where I'm from. That's who I am.
Yeah, and how did you find dance? So like dance obviously is your self-expression, is it runs through your veins also.
Yes.
What was your initial discovery of dance, or how did dance become the thing that you knew yourself as, but
That-
also, and then also like, I want to hear this. I just heard you say you rattled it off fast, but it was like a company turned into a collective. I'm curious about
yeah.
that whole thing as well.
So the way I found dance, it was really interesting. My grandmother, my father's mother, was the neighborhood piano teacher. So she played the piano for the church, and she taught everyone in the neighborhood how to play the piano. She was an educator as well. And so these ideas of art and artistic practice were
Mm-hmm.
always inside of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And my mother danced in high school. My uncle danced in high school. Don't he would never tell you that
I
right
was
now.
gonna say, did you just
76, he's
expose
like
somebody?
never. I did. But it's okay. He's 76. He's
Oh,
still trying to kick up his legs. He still
I
thinks that
love
he
it.
has it. But so that was always in my life. And my mother actually wanted to be a professional race car driver. And
Wow.
I know, and I drive real fast too.
Oh, that's connected to the dancing though too. I feel like I like flying through the air. I like, lifts and dips and tricks, and the same way that
Lifts,
I like
dips,
roller coasters. It's like
spins, the roller coasters, that whole
yes, it's a whole
so
it's a whole
that was
situation.
yeah, that was that process. And when I was very young, I had a hernia.
Oh wow.
And I was bellied over quite often trying
Mm.
to figure out what was going on. My mother was like, something's happening. So she took me to the doctor, and the doctor says, oh, she has a hernia. And I had an outie for a belly button.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor said, well, she can either have surgery or she can go to ballet class, and those muscles would close up
We'll go.
immediately. So, of course it was, well, let's go to ballet class.
Yeah,
She
that's a
also was
lot.
dancing. That was a lot. So I went to the ballet class in the city, in the town that I lived in. I lived on a farm in Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and the town that we had a house on the farm and a house in the town. And I went to the ballet school. Um, that was interesting because I was the only Black child in that space, in that school.
Mm.
They
What
were,
town was this? What town was it?
it's called Texarkana. Texarkana is on the
Texarkana.
borderline of Texas and Arkansas.
How
And the only,
it's how close to Midland is that? We just were
oh,
at Midland. That's pretty
that,
far
that
because Midland is the southern border.
it's a little
Okay.
ways, maybe 2 hours, not that far, maybe 2 hours. So I went there and I did that process. I had a great teacher. Her name was Sue Henderson. I loved her so much. My
Mm.
belly button went in within a year, but I was hooked. So every night,
Wow.
I had everybody in the house. Everybody's got to do split.
Pliing.
They got to do no plie, splits. Everybody's got to
Split.
do the split.
Yes.
My grandfather, my mother, my grandmother, all my cousins, everybody had to do
I
split.
love it.
But my home language was like swing and blues, so that was
Mm.
playing in my house, and we were doing those type of that dance all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, a really interesting story. I lived right across the street. My other house was this house that was across the street from this place called Martha's Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And Jawale, the artistic director of Urban Bush Woman,
Yes.
founder of Urban Bush Woman, actually talks about Miss Martha's Cafe in one of her works. And I lived across.
Mm. Oh wow.
This whole idea of blues and what that
Yes.
feels like in swing and Lindy Hop, that's my language. That's
I
what I
love
learned.
it. Because is Jolly's from Arkansas? Is Jolly from Arkansas? No, Kansas. She's from Kansas.
She's from
She's
Kansas, but
Kansas, yeah.
her sister lived in Texarkana.
Oh wow.
Yeah, her sister lived in Texarkana. And
Yeah.
when I heard that story, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so incredible. I lived across the street from there. 802 Ash Street was the
I
address.
love it.
And that's how I started. And so my mother decided that she was going to move to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved to Miami at 13 years old, and I continued to dance here.
Mm-hmm.
And, continued with all of that formalized ballet training,
Mm-hmm.
modern, all of those things, jazz. I didn't take my first African dance class until I was 16 years old.
Wow.
And I took that with La Twinette Stein, that's now Lakatko.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a Lakatko baby. So I loved had a great
Wow.
experience with her. And I continued to dance and went on. I graduated from New World, the first graduating class.
Wow.
And yeah, we
Yes.
did some
We have.
summers at DTH and places like that.
So then you stayed in Miami or did you go elsewhere?
I stayed in Miami until I was 19, 20.
Okay.
And I actually went to Miami Dade College.
Okay.
And then from there I transferred and went to Jacksonville University. And then I graduated from there and I got married and I moved to Japan.
Started doing the army brat thing.
Army brat thing, and had some
Yes.
brats.
Yes.
Had some little bambinos in that
Oh my
process.
goodness. Who are how
Yeah.
old now? Who are how old now?
Right now,
Uh-huh.
I'm 55.
No, yeah, I was actually not saying you. I was saying your kids. How old are your kids?
Oh, my kids are 28 and 27.
28. Okay. Well, by the way, 55. You look younger than me. So
You
I
get
was
younger
trying
as they get older. They
I was
start to
trying
catch
to do
up with
math.
you.
I'm like, how old? There's no way. You look so
Yeah,
young.
they'll start to catch up with you eventually. Don't worry.
Yes. Well, are they all in Miami as well, or no?
Yes,
They
they're both
are.
here.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
great. I don't know if you know. So half my more than half my family, actually, all my father's side, my father's Cuban, all of
Uh-huh.
his side of the family all live in Miami. So
Oh, okay.
when we go home, a lot of times for him, it's in Miami. I mean, they live all over the city, like in different. I mean, we literally. I will always run into people that I'm related
From
to in
Miami.
Miami. Yes. And I mean, the company's actually been a few times back
Hmm.
and forth, but I've never lived there, and I love it. I mean, it's such a beautiful place, and
It's nice. It's interesting. I think people get here and they get kind of caught up
yeah,
because they want to be on vacation all the time like
yeah,
everybody else.
yes,
But we can't. We have to go to work.
right,
It's
right,
expensive to live here, so we have to
yes,
work.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and then also there's a sense there's this feeling. It feels so linked to the Caribbean. I feel like it's such an international city. There you meet so
Hmm.
many people from. I mean, similarly to LA or New York,
Hmm.
but it's got
You
this.
meet you meet people from everywhere, from all over the
Yeah,
world, from
yeah,
all over the world.
which
Hmm.
is
Some
beautiful.
people, I was teaching. I work at Miami Dade College, and I teach this one class that's a first year college student class, SLS, study life skills class. And
Hmm.
one of the questions that I always ask is, where's your dream place to live? Where do you want to live? And none of
Hmm.
them want to move. They all want to
Yeah,
stay in Miami. They're like,
yeah,
I love it here. I never
yeah.
want to leave. Well, okay, but
You're like,
it's
that's
good to
not.
see other places. You need to see something
That's
different. There's a
good.
different world out there.
Well, it's great that you lived there and then left and then had a lot of
Came back.
experiences and came back, because there is probably something. Yeah, number one, you probably appreciate it in a different way, but
Yeah.
but also for your students, you bring something that is worldly, that is from all kinds
Yeah,
of
especially
different.
living in Asia. It was really interesting. It was really interesting living there as a young woman and having two children there. You see it
Hmm.
completely different,
Yeah.
and dancing there and just that life is very
Hmm.
beautiful. And I lived in Okinawa, and Okinawa has the longest lifespan of any place
Mm.
on the globe.
Wow.
So the
Wow.
lifespan is like 107 years old.
What?
So
Oh my God.
everything,
Average lifespan? That means people
average
living until like 120.
107.
That's
So
amazing.
everything there is so different. So
Wow.
probably those 4.5 years maybe gave me like 20 extra years, maybe.
Mm. Yes. When were your children born there, or were they
Yeah.
born? They
Both of my
were.
children were
Oh
born there.
wow.
Hmm.
Oh my
Hmm.
goodness. Well,
Yeah.
and are either one of them artists? I'm curious.
No, they
No.
try everything not to be an artist, but it always comes out. I'm like, I don't know why y'all keep
You're
denying
like, why are
yourself.
you just denying
Why,
yourself?
why you denying yourself this beautiful life? You
I
need to
love
come on, get with it.
I love it. Well, I will say the fact that you have young people that are directly from you that are not artists is not a reflection of the artists that you've like cultivated, created, inspired. Because there's so many artists that know you as Mama Michelle, and who are doing like their work, and they're have careers because you've created a space and a love for this art form for them in a way that is deeply important. So I hope I'm sure you know that, but
Yeah,
even
they come back.
yeah,
They always come back. I tell them I love it when they come home. So it's been
yes,
challenging with this COVID thing because they haven't been able to come to the
yeah,
person's home place. But
mm-hmm.
in time,
Yes,
it'll be fine, and
we're gonna be.
we'll be back, and bodies will have mutated, and they'll be dancing more fiercely than ever before.
Oh my
So I'm
gosh, because we're gonna
excited.
appreciate it so much.
Ah, I'm excited for the juiciness that's gonna come in the room.
Yes.
I cannot. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
I know.
I
I mean,
can't
just
wait.
to imagine like how much pent up, Ashe has been image that's like, it's going to be open, right? But I know it's going to be a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and obviously each state will be a little bit different. Although maybe now with Biden, it will actually be a little more consistent across the board, hopefully.
Maybe. I'm
but
excited to see what's happening. I see that some of them are joining
yes,
Melissa
Mama
and
Murray.
Stephanie. Hey guys.
So I will say that there is it's not going to be like immediately open, but the thing that I'm looking forward to so much is just going dancing and being able to touch people and connect with people, and getting that salsa fix that I
I
miss
just
so
want to hold
badly.
somebody's hand and dance.
Yes, yes. And sweat in proximity.
And sweat.
Like
I just roll on the floor in some sweat?
Yes, totally. I never thought I'd want to roll in someone else's sweat, but I'm actually kind of like missing that.
My improvisations at home are so funny.
Well, I'm curious how, because I know you're teaching. Obviously, you're teaching online, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And so what has that been like, and have there been things that are possible now in terms of like things that that have come out of this that are silver linings? I'm curious.
So it's been interesting. I taught 8 classes this semester virtually.
Ooh.
I didn't think I was going to make it through.
Oh my goodness.
But I made it. I had some very good coffee, lots of tequila. I'm just saying.
Yes.
But I made it through. One of the things that has come out of this that I have seen as an educator that's been really incredible to see, and I've spoken to my students about this so many times. For years I've been talking about it. I know for a fact that I've been talking about this consistently for 7 years, consistently. Yes. That this is an interesting generation. They have a lot of responsibility to go forth with, and that they are going to be responsible for making changes inside of the world.
Yes.
Yes, we're dancing, but our bodies are going to take on this information, and it's going to shift the energy of the world. I've been saying that, and I've been talking about how that looks inside of the dance world, because yes, we have these quote unquote traditional ways of moving, Eurocentric ways of moving, but hi, Auntie Mimi. Hi, Carrie Ann. We have these traditional ways of moving, of learning what we think is this Eurocentric way of dancing, but there's this other information that needs to come out of us that's authentic to who we are and how we navigate the earth. Yes. And so we can only get that information when we go deep inside. And there's no one superimposing these ideas of what you should be doing and should not be doing, and what looks good and what doesn't look good. So we have to try to get beyond that, but we can't get beyond that until that information is yeah. So I'm excited about that, and so I've been seeing that come to life inside of the classes that I've taught online, because I cannot go and mold the body to what we need it to be like and what we want it to look like. What feels good on your body? What looks good on your body? Where is this information coming from? What are you thinking about? What are you talking about? And having deep reflective conversations about what it even means to lift your arm. What is the context of that? The imagery of that? Where is that information coming from? And what does it resonate? So within that, I'm starting to see growth inside of spaces. So
expansion,
that's really,
what people think is possible.
Yeah, so that's really beautiful. So in the composition classes where I saw it most, where I gave the students, of course, they had to do screen dance, right? And they had to figure it out. I gave them guidelines and what have you, but overall, they had to really go inside of themselves and figure it out, because we could not get to the humanities lab to use the computer. So you need to figure it out on your phone.
On your phone.
Whatever you got, figure it out.
Yes. Oh my
figure it out. So this is where I started to see, like, really understand the fibers of it. And so we have another semester of this coming out phase, another semester in phase 2 here in Miami. It's going to be virtual and online. And I'm excited to see what they create, and talking to them about personal practice, because this is a personal practice.
Totally.
You
Yeah.
know, what does that
You
mean to
can't
you?
lean on, I mean, I know that I've felt that even for myself. I can't lean on being able to go to a class or someone else to like support me to even the function of the company. I mean, I feel like
Mm-hmm.
having a company for this long has made me continue to show up in rehearsal and in a space, in a creative space. It's
Mm-hmm.
had to be much more my own responsibility of like, okay, am I going to move today? Am I going to choose to dance today? Am I going to choose to like actually engage my body and without just walking and doing the minimum of what I need to do? And there have been
Mm-hmm.
times in this 9 months where I'm like, all I want to do is lie in bed. Like I don't want to move, right? And then having to really deal with that, right? Like having to deal
Yeah.
with that the reason I feel that way is because I'm not doing the thing that I love more than anything, and that
Right.
actually I have to like, I mean, it's amazing because dancing familias, which is like a weekly practice that we were doing for the first 4 or 5 months, I was doing it every single week, and it was like even the times that I didn't want to do it, I was picking myself up and doing it as a way to remember that I love to dance and remember that I wanted to be in community, and like I would always feel better after I would do it. And then distance learning happened with both my kids are not in school. They're virtual, right? They're doing virtual school, and it just got so hard because I had to be right next to my son all the time, next to the computer. And so I did it once a month. I started doing it once a month, and I missed it so much. You realize like I had created almost an accountability of having to show up and dance for other people, and it actually was helping myself. But that knowing, okay, now I actually have to dance for myself. Like I have to do it for me because I know it's good for me, not because somebody's depending on me to show up and teach a class.
How old are your kids?
9 and 4.
Oh, wow.
So yes, I'm in the thick of it.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's the beginning of it.
Yes. Yes.
I just want to tell you.
Tell me, teach me. Please.
That's the best part. Enjoy it.
You're like the teen. You're talking about the teen years. Is that what I'm?
Queen. Oh, well, just enjoy that. This is a good. This is good. This is good. Oh, Carrie Ann says, "Ooh, so hard."
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes.
Carrie Ann was with me. Actually, her first son. So when I start creating and choreographing these pieces, somebody is going to get pregnant, and I tell them like, "Okay, you guys."
You're like, somebody's going to get pregnant.
Going to get pregnant. Like, pay attention to this new work, okay? Guard yourselves. But anyway, her son came about is with the creation of a new work, which was Gift of Bonbon, that was dedicated to Catherine Dunham. And now he's brilliant. I was calling him early my president. I was like, he's going to be the president of the United States, my president.
Yes.
And so now he's 10. He's 10 years old, and she has a daughter. So she's always like, yeah, this is, so he's 10, and the daughter is turning 4 tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, she knows. She
knows.
Yeah. She knows what's happening. Well,
I mean, it's such an innocent age, though. Still at 9, they at 8, 9, 10 years old. Yes, they're, they have these opinions, and they're starting to grow and learn themselves. But it's still, you still have so much control as the mother.
Yeah.
And so much empower. You can empower them in such beautiful ways. I miss that.
I do. There's also this deep curiosity about the world. Like this age, I feel like the 4th grade age is like the age where they start being these little people with all these opinions, but really grappling with what it means to be in the world, which is a pretty amazing time for that to be happening in the midst of a global pandemic, right? like to be a human being who's like starting to really open up and look at the world. In some ways, this has been such a gift to have this time to be so close to both of my children during this moment. Like I've been able to really craft in the things that I want them to be learning about, the things that I want us to be talking about, the ways that I want us to be thinking about the world. Whereas I think if they were in school, or if they were, there would be so much less, engagement around the kind of direction that I actually was really wanting their learning to go. So in some ways it's been like she said, bittersweet.
Yeah.
But but also an incredible gift. I mean, I will never, like looking back at COVID, I feel like that's what I'm going to remember more than anything, is just like the deep, intense time that I've had with my children, to be able to like just be with them and know them as people, which is such a gift.
Yeah, because that's one of the larger things that you'll hear from children, is that you don't really know me, mom or dad. You don't really know me, but you really know them. Like you're really spending time with them, and you're knowing who they are and what they're hearing, what's filtering inside of their mind and their bodies. That's important. I know that video games have a lot to do with that, but
oh my gosh,
also.
I'm so anti-video. Like my poor child, he's like the only person in his class that doesn't play video games, and he hates it. He hates me for it, and I'm like, eventually you'll love me for it, because your brain has like a lot more imagination and creativity because of it.
Yes.
But right now he's like, like fights me super hard about it, because everyone around him is doing it, or everyone on the screens in his classroom are doing it. Exactly.
But you know what? You're getting to know them, but they're also getting to know you.
Yes.
Because that's important, that they know who you are as well. Like what type of person are you? What do you really care about? Yes, they know that you dance and you love that, but what are the things that you really, really care about? That's so vital.
And that those are the things that like you said, like when you leave or when you're not together anymore, even when they're living on their own, there's going to be this there's going to be this really deep understanding of who we are, that I think was possible out of this time. We were moving 5 million miles a minute. I was barely stopping for anything in life pre-COVID. So there is a way that, like screeched on the brain. Exactly. It wasn't even, it was more like, and that jerk was like, there was some whiplash, there was some experiencing of like, soreness and all of that. And what was possible out of that stillness has been immense. So I know that people, there's all these jokes about how horrible 2020 is and can it be over already, and it just keeps delivering more bad news. And I think I feel, I mean, thank goodness we have a home, we have food, we have the things that we need. Contratiempo, even though we've lost a lot of our performing work, we've actually been getting a lot of contracts around teaching, and we're still our engagement work is, we're deepening our engagement work. It was already there, right? It was already deeply a part of who we are, but we're leaning into that more now. And so, there's so many things that I feel very grateful about, but I also feel like this time afforded all of these other ways of working and thinking and being that wouldn't have been possible, without.
No, because we would just keep going fast. And the idea that we had to snatch up and say, okay, what is we really doing, and what's the real mission and the goal here? So, we talk about community engagement and about that being the ultimate thing and the ultimate experience, but is it really? And so now it really has to manifest itself, which is so important. I love that part. It's been great.
And I'm curious, I'm so curious about the journey of your company too, that you talked about it at the beginning of it as a company, and it moved into a collective, but also that whole thing of stopping when you were, before we got on here, you were sharing about like slowing down for having kids, and then kind of like ramping it back up in 2012. So can you talk a little bit about that?
I originally started the company in Okinawa, in Japan, believe it or not.
Wow.
And that was great, because Okinawa is a magical, magical place. I think everybody in the world needs to go to this little small island for a moment in time and really experience the life there. It's beautiful. So I had 2 young children, and I was able to take them with me wherever I went, whatever I did. I breastfed my kids anywhere that I wanted to. No one said anything to me. It was like, okay, that's the thing. But as they got older, and when we came back to the U.S. in 1996, I think, things sort of shifted because you have to go into this Western way of living of go, 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 do, right? You got to get a job. You got to, you know, these expectations and the demands are different. So I had to put the company on hiatus so that I could go to work and do and take care, you know, make sure that our house, that our needs were met. And so that's what I did, and just kept the company, just disbanded that thing. And then I went to graduate school in 2010 at to do my graduate degree in composition choreography. And when I graduated in 2012,
where were you? Where did you get your degree?
Jacksonville University.
Oh, that's where you went.
I did a low res program. So in 2012, I was like, you know, I'm going to take this thesis project and let that be the impetus to move this company forward, to bring it back to life. And that's what I did. So at that time, so from 2012 to last year, 2019, it was just Olujimi Dance Theater. And then it became more of a collective because other people started to come in to the company, bringing different ideas and different works and different ways of working, not just dances, but different ways of working. And dance has shifted, and it's continuing to shift. So with that, I was like, okay, what else? You know, I need to shift this. It's not just a dance theater. It's a collective group of people that are all coming to bring something together, and really focusing on community and what that looks like to have a platform for dancers and community, specifically in Miami, specifically for Black dancers, because it's really challenging here. Oh, yeah, we talk about diversity in Miami, but that's another conversation.
Ooh, but also there's I mean, and I know this because my own family, there's so much anti-Blackness inside of the Latinidad of Miami because of, and I'll be straight and I'm Cuban, I can say it, because the Cubans and the Venezuelans. I mean, like there is this sense of like people forgetting where they came from and forgetting that they were refugees, and forgetting that the connection and the roots of the African diaspora. I mean, there's a whole thing. So I feel
so that's how I got to that name, Edwina Hernandez.
I think it's one of the reasons I've never moved to Miami, honestly, but maybe I should, right? But okay, no, wait. Let's back up. Tell me the story about Edwina Hernandez.
This is how I got to the name of Edwina Hernandez. So I was like, okay, these people in Miami think, that's what I was saying one day. These people in Miami think that only one thing comes out of Blackness. There's a lot of stereotype mentality, really ignorant processes going on here. And I still run into that. I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and give myself a Hispanic name. maybe, just maybe, they'll stop with that foolishness. Because I've had some experiences here, like some traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
People, I don't understand. My people here in Miami, these people, my people in Miami, my own Miamians, have some issues.
Yeah.
When I moved to Miami at 13, you know, a young teenage girl, are you Black Cuban? Are you Haitian? I didn't know what any of it was. All I knew was Black and Mexican. That's it. My mother, I was like, Mom, what is a Black Cuban?
Asking me.
Sit me down and you tell me what that was. So, you know, in my head, this information has remained like floating around in there. And my middle name is actually Edwina, Edwena. A Russian clown that my mother has an affinity for. And my father's middle name was Edward. So she's like, I'm going to name my daughter Edwina. But then I found out.
You have that performer name.
I have that performer name. Yeah. So then I found out that Edwina was actually a popular Cuban name, specifically Cuban. I was like, oh, cool, interesting. So
you're like, I'm going to have a Cuban ID. So I like to play. I have a sense of humor, and I like to play in satire and sitcom.
So I like to tell jokes and play these games and these type of things. It's like, you know what? It's just going to be Edwina Hernandez on Instagram. They'll figure it out. And when she starts designing costumes and creating music and dance films,
Yes.
it'll just be Edwina Hernandez. So I actually started using it.
Like
And
a stage name.
like a stage name.
Yeah.
And people would say, my God, Edwina Hernandez is such a beautiful costume designer.
You're like, that's Michelle Graham.
I was like, oh, but if that said Michelle Murray or Michelle Graham Murray, it wouldn't be that way. Okay, I got you. So Edwina Hernandez became Edwina Hernandez, and I kept her right there on Instagram. And funny thing, I have one student she's from Puerto Rico, Astrid. She says, I found you on Instagram, but this is not your name. Well, how did you find me? She said, somebody told me this was you. So she takes it to my department chair. Now, if you look at Edwina Hernandez on IG, she has on a fabulous black bikini. She's in Key Biscayne, living the life.
Like, she is my alter ego and my inner ego.
So she takes it to the department chair, and he goes, no, that's not her. That's not her. That's not her.
Oh my gosh.
But it was me.
It was you. In your black bikini.
And my black bikini.
Living your life.
Living my life, man. Okay, living my life.
I love it.
Where I was going. It was great. So that's how she came to be. You know, it was like a satire, a comedy, and I just decided to keep it. Beyonce did it. I don't understand why I can't.
You can do it. You can do it, and I love it. And I'm like, you're inspiring me to want to do it, right?
I think everybody needs to do it.
I love it. Well, and also just it's the incredible commentary on like you can see directly the opportunities afforded to a Latina artist versus a Black artist. Like it's very, I appreciate you doing this because it's like it's just. Not that the sheet needed to be revealed because we're all clear that it's there, but I mean, for some people, they need to like have some proof, and so like,
they need to have some.
This is giving data. This is like data.
Quantitative data.
Quantitative data, exactly.
There's a lot in a name, so it became Edwina Hernandez, and that was
beautiful.
That was that. My children think that it's crazy. They're like, "Mom, you're over the top." Like, yeah, I know.
You're like, that's why I'm a creator.
That's why I'm a creator, because I'm over the top. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I love this. Well, I will say the just like your journey in terms of you describing the company, it's powerful for me to hear right now, because we are in this position right now too, where, I mean, so much of our work has changed just even in the last, year or 9 months. Mm-hmm. But the moving towards this idea of like Contratiempo being an organization that it's not a singular vision. It's not it's not about Ana Maria. I mean, there's a reason I never called it Ana Maria Alvarez Dance Company, right? But that named it something that was not my own name. And I won't even think I was like super conscious that that's what I was doing. Like I wasn't doing that because I was making a decision of not doing that. I was doing it because it never was my interest to have a singular vision. Mm-hmm. But how can these organizations that we founded or that we have like birthed become something that does move beyond? I mean, I think Jawale's done it so beautifully, move beyond a one person's vision into this idea of a collective body that's bringing multiple voices into the space, being an advocate for like the work to exist in a deeper, stronger, more powerful, bolder, louder way, which feels exciting. So I love hearing that. I love hearing that journey, and I feel like we're on that journey right now.
The word Olujimi actually means God-given. It's a Yoruba word for God-given, and I specifically did deep research before I chose the name. And I was in Okinawa when I chose the name. So that was really interesting as well, to be inside of a space with so much ancestral knowledge inside of Okinawa. And then what does that, and I kept asking myself, what does this information that I'm experiencing here in Okinawa, how does that really reflect upon me? What does it mean to me? No, I'm not Okinawan. No, I'm not Japanese. I'm a Black woman with roots in Nigeria, roots in
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, you know, roots in the Congo. This is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? What does ancestral information mean to me? And so
Mm-hmm.
that's how I found this name.
It's
Someone
beautiful. And
gave me a book, and I just started researching it, and
I love it.
really set with it for
And this
time.
and this first iteration of your company, were the dancers Japanese, or or was it more of solo work, or like
Oh, it was a
what was
collective.
the
It was
first
a
iteration?
collective. No, it was a collective group of people, even at that point. So, you know, when you're in that military culture, you meet people from all over the world, and
Yeah.
those people become your extended family, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So you meet, there are dancers all over the world, even on
Yeah.
military bases, believe it or
Yeah.
not. So the company was filled with people from different places and different spaces with different types
Wow.
of movement. We did a lot of festivals in Okinawa, which
Mm-hmm.
was really beautiful. I did a lot of opening my home to other organizations that lived in Okinawa, people coming from different places in Asia, wanting to
Mm-hmm.
learn about American culture, specifically
Mm-hmm.
African American culture. That was
Yeah.
always really interesting. They would always ask me to make cornbread. Can you make some cornbread?
Yeah. I love
So
it.
yeah, that was great. You know, it was really interesting to have these experiences, and to have experiences of people coming from different spaces with different
Mm-hmm.
movement vocabularies, and how that all came together to create something magnificent, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's
So
beautiful.
yeah, that was beautiful. This is why one of the reasons that I get a little bit frustrated here in Miami when we start talking about diversity is because I've lived in diverse spaces. I've lived in
Yeah.
Seattle, I've lived in Asia, you know, I've lived in these different spaces where diversity is fluid. It's
Yeah.
not either or.
It's not, or it's not, it's like a bowl of nuts versus like a moqueca, or like a salsa,
Right,
or
right,
a
right, right,
picadillo, where like the
right.
things are all like together.
Yeah,
There's,
yeah,
yeah.
yes, okay. So that was interesting to have that experience, and
Yeah.
it really shifted. And then I decided that, you know, in 2012, just seeing what was happening here in Miami in regards to Black dancers, where that existed, and Black in Miami is different from Black in the rest of the United States
Yes,
of America.
absolutely.
So that's another story. So it's like, okay, we need to have a platform that we can actually have these conversations about Blackness.
Mm-hmm.
How does that, what are the intersections of Blackness inside of our spaces, and
Mm-hmm.
how are we actually living inside of our Blackness, and
Yes.
celebrating our Blackness, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
celebratory action and joy of Blackness inside of movement,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm.
that was and the rawness of it, the sheer
Yes.
rawness of being of Blackness is absolutely impeccable magic.
I love it. Do you know Ashley Thomas? Ashley Katrina
Yes,
Thomas?
yes,
You
yes.
do?
She used to
Yes.
work for you. Yes,
Yes. Yes. She's
she has Muse
like
305
sister
right now.
friend.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah, Muse. Muse is her
yes, yes,
organization.
yes, yes.
But I was like, if you don't know each other, you need to know each other. But I
Yeah,
didn't know.
we've done
It wasn't
projects
trivia.
together.
Yay! I
Yeah,
figured. I figured.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's incredible.
Yes,
We
she
love
is.
her so much, and
Yes,
is doing that. I mean, like the exactly what you're saying is her self expression and her like mission of Muse as well. So
yes. And
is
she
like
was a dancer,
embodied.
right?
She was a dancer in our company for. She was a company member for 3 years, I think, 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and really pivotal. I mean, she founded the Summer Arts Academy, which was like our youth program. It
Mm-hmm.
was her idea to start a whole summer camp for youth,
Mm-hmm.
and she actually wound up choreographing a little like a piece that wound up
Mm-hmm.
opening for one of our pieces.
Nice,
That then wound up, I think, she turned it into a larger evening length work.
nice.
Yeah, she's incrable.
She's
Yay,
incredible. She's
she's
doing
incredible.
something tomorrow night with the Adrian Arch, so I'm gonna
Oh,
try to catch
nice.
that. Yeah, I think it's at
Okay.
5:30. Yeah, I'm
Oh
gonna
my
try to
gosh, she's
catch that.
she's always moving and
She's
grooving.
everywhere.
Yeah, she is. She
She's
is.
everywhere. They just did
I
something
love
for
it.
my new art week. I was like, okay,
I
she's
love it.
everywhere.
Well, so I don't want to leave this conversation before talking a little bit about denim too, because
Okay.
I know your. So I don't. did we cross over in the denim? I can't even remember. I don't think we have.
Think
so.
So
So I'm getting my certification right now. I'm like
okay.
in the process of getting my certification, and just, but also I discovered denim when I was in 16, 17, when I basically left ballet and was like, okay, this is not happening. There is a whole other world that I need to be a part of, that is not involving me not being able to be in my body, like, or being seen as okay in my body. That, just like the discovery of her work and who she is and was in the world, and the legacy that is the denim legacy. It changed my life. It completely and totally transformed the direction I decided to go. And the more I learn about her, the more I realize how deeply influential her work has been, just even on the shoulders that I stand on, in terms of, even I was blown away learning about the piece that she did around lynching in South America, that then wound up being the piece that, like, she got completely and totally canceled out by
Southland.
by the Southland, yes, by the U.S. government. And that was like that whole concept of like an artist who literally was saying, no, this is what's really happening, right? And then what is the impact of that, not only in the field, but inside of our country, right? Like our system's designed to like shut that
all
down.
The way to the presidency.
All the way to the presidency, exactly. So you said you did a piece like inspired by Dunham.
Inspired by Miss Dunham, about Miss Dunham. So my Dunham experience is deep. So, this first ideas of modern dance with Dr. LaToinette Stein, where she was actually teaching Dunham and developing Lantec at the time, which is now Lantec. She was already developing her technique. So those are my first Dunham experiences. And then one summer I went to New York, and I had all of those fabulous Dunham teachers at the Ailey School when Ailey was on 34th and Broadway, the old Ailey School, when Mr. Ailey was still alive. And so I remember my first Dunham class, Dr. was walking around.
Do it again. Yes. Those were my Dunham teachers too. Hold it with the cane.
I better get it together. Let me tell you, I had to take the number 2 train to the Bronx. I missed my stop. My fingernails are hurting.
I love it. There's a Dunham class tonight, by the way. If you want to come, Rochelle is teaching a Dunham class tonight. Every Tuesday
I might try to come to that. It was like, oh my God. So I was there doing the Ailey Summer Intensive, and when that summer was over and I came back to Miami, my whole body had changed. Like everything was longer, everything was bigger. I was smiling all the time. I was always happy. So for me, it worked really, really incredibly on my body. It was just an amazing experience for me. And so time goes on, you continue to study. Then I went to Jacob's Pillow, and I did the Cultural Traditions program with Bobby Reginald Yates and Don Michelle. And that experience in itself was mind blowing, mind blowing. And then it was like, okay, so you need to do this Dunham certification. So then I started going to the summer institutes. But then Miss Dunham passed away. And I was like, oh, wow. And I had met Melanie McGant, who at the time was her manager. And it's like, we should really think about doing something with Miss Dunham, just inspired by Dunham technique and her philosophy, because the technique is one thing, but her philosophy and her way of thinking,
a whole way of thinking,
is another way of thinking. And so the work came out of her philosophy and her way of thinking. So just acquiring information that Miss Dunham had collected, writings. Of course, I've read a million books that she's written. And just these experiences and talking to people, and the philosophy, her diet, what she's eating, what she ate, what she watched on television. How
her work with the chakras.
Her work with the chakras. The process of self-care. These things were really important, and I got to spend a lot of time, one-on-one time with her. because of my relationships with other people. I got to spend
Mm-hmm.
one-on-one sitting on the couch talking with her.
Oh, that's
Those are
amazing.
really priceless moments in my life, and it
Yes.
inspired this work.
Yeah. And you now hold that, hold that connection that you're sharing with your students and sharing with
Right,
your audiences and all of it.
right.
I mean, her legacy runs so deep. And so, and even though she was canceled by our, government or the space, like the people in there, her legacy was so incredibly powerful that it didn't even need that. Like there is a way that I feel like she continued to boldly take up space and has now. I mean, it's been inspiring to be inside of a community where people are both studying her, like you said. It's not just like the technique, it's not just what you're doing on your body, but it's reading her books and understanding her
Mhm.
philosophies and seeing the like her deep, like the participant observer anthropological
The
way of
form and
working
function and
inside of.
everything and how everything comes together,
Yes,
because
yes.
it's not just the dance step. It's not,
No.
it's so much more than that. Not to marginalize the step, but the
Yeah,
form of the step and the function of the step has so much more to
it's in
give.
relationship.
It's
Yeah,
in
it's in
relationship to
relationship to
everything.
yeah.
Right.
There.
The spirituality of it all is super
Mhm.
important, because how can you
Mhm.
live inside of this world and call yourself a damsel and you are not connected to spirit? I don't
She
understand.
she was the founder of intersectionality. She was like,
Hello, people.
she never gets credit for that, but I
They
do
want to
feel
call
like
her. They want to call her the mother of jazz. They need to go back and rewrite all of that. Stop it.
yes,
Stop it with that stuff.
yes.
This is
No,
what that's archaic thinking.
no, no. Really, it's not.
Yeah.
It was so beyond any of that. Well, I just even think that the way that we're taught about, or not taught about her. I mean, I feel like we study modern dance inside the academy, and she's not always included. And if she is, it's like a blip. And there needs to be like full on
I do.
majors about her.
I do full semesters of denim technique.
Yes, good for you.
I don't care
Yay.
what they say. I do it in ballet class.
I love it. I love
Because
it.
you still need to bend your knees. You still
Yes.
need to give reference to the earth. You
Yes.
cannot do a grand plie properly if you are not opening your root chakra.
No.
So let's
Yes.
let's get to the root of the thing. You
I
can't
love
do
it.
flat back in Horton technique if you don't open all
No.
of the chakras.
No. So did
You
you
know?
so did you stop because you said you were looking to get certified or wanting to like study and are you decided kind of once she passed that you aren't doing that anymore, or are you planning to do it, or did you
Um,
do it, or
I have not done it. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I'm 55.
you still got
I
your
know I
flat
still
back,
look good.
I love
But
it.
I'm really focused on my company as well and
Yeah.
developing my own technique, which is denim
Yeah.
inspired. And so that's a technique that I'm training a lot of young people to, how they come through the space and when they leave, what they leave with. And
Yes.
so I've been thinking, and talking to my mentors about it, like is that what I really want to do, or do I really want to focus on trying to develop and push forth and push forward with
Yes.
the ideas that
Yeah.
are coming out of my body,
I love
because
it.
Miss Dunham would say it to me all the time. Yes, I'm giving you this information, but what are you going to do with the
What are you
information
going to do
I'm
with
giving
it? Yes.
you, and how are you going to develop and grow the
Yes.
information? That still
Absolutely.
rings in my ear. I still
Mhm.
feel, hear, see that. So
Mhm.
that's what I've been thinking about, and
I
I've
love it.
made some very conscious choices
Yeah.
um,
But
to
but the
focus on.
fact that you're in academia, you're in the institutions that, and you are reframing these. I mean, in many ways, you are creating the next generation of artists and how they're seeing and how they're going to be experiencing both her legacy, but also Black dance, Black joy, Black, like what
Mhm.
is that? And so, yeah, it's there. It isn't about just replicating the exact thing. It's about what are we going to do with it, right? What are we
Mhm.
going to do with it? Which I love
And
so much.
inspiring young people to do something with the work as well.
Yes, yes.
What do you do with the work that I give you? How do you further develop that information?
Mm-hmm.
How do
Mm-hmm.
because this is another conversation I had this morning, is that I don't know what we're thinking, but right now bodies are mutating
Mm-hmm.
because we
Mm-hmm.
have to shift to, our bodies have to physically change in order to navigate inside of this space.
Yeah.
So what are we doing to with this, and how
Yeah.
is this movement, that this political, our body as a political movement, and I can be
Mm-hmm.
very political, how is it going
Mm-hmm.
to adjust
Yeah.
in the spaces that we reside in and that we
Yeah.
navigate, and how do we
Well,
shift the space?
well, and the body has become, I mean, the body politic has become such the center of what's happening in the world right now. The Black Lives Matters, with the Me Too movement, with, on the border, right? Family separations on the border. It's the body is where all of that is located. And
Mm-hmm.
so how is that shifting? I mean, I love that idea of that. Like it's shifting our field, and it's shifting the way that we're moving as dancers, knowing that like our movements and our choices of movement or our non-choices of movement are are giving us our future. It's futuring, it's creating and generating and
Mm-hmm.
manifesting a future by the way that we move and decide to move and don't decide to move. But I love, I love this idea that I mean, I think it's one of the reasons I've been so interested in using the word movement, both movement as like, dancing and movement, but movement as in the movement. because
Mm-hmm.
because there is this there's a time where, I mean, just so you know, my parents were political organizers. They were union activists. So I was kind of like the political left of the army brat in terms of like I grew up moving all the time, but it was because my family was like riling things up and organizing unions, and then we would leave town. Right?
We gotta go.
But we gotta go. But there was this way that I feel like in their movement, the body was not there. The body wasn't present in and this. It was so much about pedagogy and thinking and rhetoric, and it wasn't there weren't spaces to like breathe and move, and the dancing happened in family and happened in social spaces, but it wasn't part of the movement. And I feel like we're in a place right now where it's become part of the movement. I mean, you look at so many of the protest movements that have happened over even the last 9 months. Dance has been at the center, right? Like our moving bodies, and
Dance is at the center of it, and dance is going to be the healing process of all of the traumatic experiences of it.
yes,
We have to make sure that we hold the dance. I sent an email out today. I was like, listen, y'all need to go ahead and get this this traumatic healing process dance therapy certification, because that's going to be the thing.
It's going to be the thing. Yes, it is.
That's the thing.
It is the thing. It is.
That is the thing. Everybody needs it in order to heal. Allow it to heal rather than to destroy the bodies, because we know what that does. We've already seen the Holocaust and all this other stuff, and the Atlantic slave trade, the Iberian slave trade. We already know. So now it's time to heal. It's time. We need to be prepared for it.
Oh, and on that note, I love you.
I love you too. I'm so glad that we got a chance to connect and have this conversation. I am so thankful, so grateful. And so thank you for the invitation. I really enjoyed this, and thank you. And just elated and excited.
Yes. I feel so nourished and so excited. Just also wanting, I mean, like I want to come and study some of your technique. I'm like I need to be in Miami. Please do. Please do. It would be really, I would love to, we need to connect. Maybe we could.
Yeah, I have an online platform. We have an online platform. I have it with another group of dancers, Melissa Kobala and Brittany Williams. It's called Woodshed Dance. And so I'll send you some information, because I teach classes on there and we have fun.
I love it. Can you actually do me a favor? Is when this is gonna live on our IGTV now.
Okay.
Now, and so anybody just came in and want to see the whole thing, it's gonna be living on our on Contratiempos page. If you could put in the notes in the comments once it's up, just like the information about all those things, so people can get in touch with you. They know where to go if they wanted to study and work with you, and any of the projects you have going on. Just because we want to continue to love and support and hold space, and just thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Yay.
Love you.
Love you too.
I love you.
And I hope to see you on I know that you mentioned you might be doing something like this.
I might be.
Yes, I love it. See, I'm putting it out there in the universe.
Okay.
I love you. Have a beautiful, beautiful new year. Much love.
Take care. Well, much love. Thank you. Bye.